FC25 news is starting to surface. We're finding out bits of information, we're finding out leaks, and thanks to Foot Scoreboard's new app, we have got a bunch of player ratings and in-game stats for some brand new cards in FC25. So today I'm going to look through a couple of cards that I think look like they could be really good starter cards, go a little bit in depth into a couple of things on them, and I've got like 80 cards that I've already picked out as cards I really like. I'm not going to be able to get 80 in each video, so if you want to see more of these, leave a like on the video, hit the sub button, and let's start talking all things FC25. I will very quickly say, Foot Scoreboard do say this in their app, that some of the face stats of the cards might slightly differ in the definitive versions of the cards. Basically, all of the in-game stats are calculated to work out what the predicted face value stat could be. So the in-game stats are correct. Some of the face value stats might ever so slightly tweak, just to put that out there straight away. But the first player we're going to look at is going to be Weston McKennie. Now, a lot of these cards are going to be like good starter cards. So we're looking at cards that will be probably within a decent budget at the start of the game, and looking at cards that will not be, you know, crazy breaking the bank. But Weston McKennie, a 78 rated card with 70 stats across the board, which is always a really nice thing to have in your midfielders, is having 70 plus on every single stat. His lowest stat being shooting, which not the end of the world if you're running him as like a box-to-box or like a CDM. Obviously, his work rates we don't know yet, but 3-3 on the skill move and weak foot, which again, sort of defensive style player, 3-star skills is not the end of the world, especially start of the game. It's not a big problem, but great in the physicality side of things, good defending stats as well, with some decent dribbling and passing stats. The pace split's really nice with 75 acceleration and 76 sprint speed. The agility and balance, obviously a touch low, but he is a tall guy. He is a proper tall lad, so you kind of expect that to be a little bit on the lower side of things. But overall, a really nice starting looking CDM I reckon Weston McKennie will be, and I don't think it'll be crazy expensive. I think he'll be pretty cheap out the gate. Another 78 rated midfielder, we're looking at Sao. He again looks pretty decent across the board, one shooting short of being 70 in every single stat. I would say slightly lower rated stats across the majority here. The pace is the same, I believe it was, as Weston McKennie's. It's just the split's not quite as ideal, so the acceleration's a touch lower, but the sprint speed being a touch higher. Again, really nice physical stats, 87 stamina as well, which is phenomenal. Early doors, having nice high stamina on your midfielders is going to be really huge, with those players being like players that do a lot of the legwork and a lot of running in the game. So it's really helpful to have the nice high stamina. Again, I wouldn't be looking to play this guy with the ideas of shooting all that often. His shooting stats obviously not that great, but really nice, like a good mean average of dribbling and passing stats, with curve being a touch lower, which again, curve for me is one of the main sort of passing attributes that actually sort of goes towards shooting. I don't really find many times where curve is massively effective on my passing stats, unless it's maybe every now and again like crosses and obviously corners and things, but you just put somebody else in for corners. That's pretty straightforward, that one. But great long passing, great short passing as well, good vision, and just a nice looking starter card. Now looking at a slightly more creative looking midfielder, and that is João Neves, who has obviously recently got his transfer. Very nice looking card across the board. Great pace, great physicality, and great dribbling. We were saying with Sao, 87 stamina is phenomenal. 90 stamina for João Neves, which is phenomenal. And I'm well aware I'm saying that wrong, DK, don't hurt me. But dribbling stats, phenomenal. 78 dribbling being the lowest stat for the in-game dribbling on a base 79 card is absolutely unreal. So great agility and balance through the roof, composure, ball control, reactions, all really nice as well. Short passing is really good too, and the long passing as well is also decent. Not really too fussed about shooting with him. It's not going to be huge problematic. Again, for me, he's like a creative box-to-box. He's not somebody you're necessarily going to get the shooting opportunities with, but somebody that you help provide a shooting opportunity for somebody else. So get that ball to bring it through the middle and find a winger or find a striker and let them do the finishing. Really nice starter card. I think a lot of people will want him in starter teams with great nation and league links, but also a really nice starter card. The pace as well is phenomenal. 3-star again, early doors is not the end of the world. I've realized in my list I've got loads of midfielders. I didn't realize I had all my midfielders clumped together, but up next we have Timber, central midfielder with, again, solid 75 across the board stats, which is lovely. It's absolutely what you want to see. So great physicality being his main thing. Ironically, stamina being the lowest of his physical stats, but the remainder of his physical stats are incredible. Great strength, aggression, and jumping. Dribbling's also really nice for a physical player to have dribbling that's almost 80s across the board, like a little bit short on the actual dribbling stat, and composure 75. That's really nice. Lovely stats in that block of stats for him. 4-star weak foot as well is great for your sort of defensive-minded midfielder. Again, probably running as a box-to-box. Probably could do him as a DM if you wanted to, but I think box-to-box with another defensive-minded midfielder alongside him kind of works best. Great shot power and long shot, so is the kind of player that if you get the ball to the edge of the box with him, you could give it a go and see if he could find the back of the net. The sprint speed is a little bit low. I'm not a big fan of the pace split, but the pace itself is not a big problem. Great acceleration, so he'll get to that top sprint speed quite quickly. It's just that top sprint speed maybe isn't as quick as some other people. But yeah, really good stat. Defensive stats as well as also really solid, which works really well for that box-to-box. Timber for me, provided you can get a little bit of chem to him, really good starter card. And a player that would get you some good chemistry to him is Gertruda. So we're on to our first centre-back of this video. Again, for me, it kind of worked out perfectly having Timber and Gertruda appear for me at the same time when I was trying to find some of these leaks, because that little link between the two of them is going to be phenomenal for the start of the game. It's one of those things where, like, if you're working with a budget and you're on like a proper low budget to build a starter team, those two are going to be players that will fit into your team really nicely. If you're lucky enough to pack one and then it's not going to cost you a crazy arm and a leg to buy the other, that kind of vibe, or I'm expecting them both to be relatively cheap pretty quickly in the game. 2-star, 3-star for a centre-back, not a big problem. Really good pace for a centre-back at the start of the game. Defending and physicality, again, really nice split on a lot of those stats. 77 stamina for a centre-back, not the end of the world for me. I've always been like sort of mid to low 70s as a minimum for every position, and centre-back is kind of the one position that you'll kind of allow mid to low 70s because they don't do a crazy amount of running, provided you're getting the ball, you know, in a bit of a midfield battle or you're in plenty of possession. Really good defending stats. Heading accuracy is great. Standing and slide tackling are both great with good defensive awareness and interceptions as well. Dribbling stats also pretty good for a centre-back. 70s with the agilities and the balance. Having them both in the 70s is really, really good. I'm fairly sure he can play as a fullback in like 24 and stuff, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't have like the ability to play in other positions to a good standard. Obviously the position system is very different in 25, but hopefully you guys know what I mean with that. And again, great pace with a really good split as well. For me, my rule of thumb is I like them to be within 5 of each other, the acceleration and sprint speed stats. So 4 between them, absolutely fine with me. Really good little stats there as well, and decent passing as well for a centre back. Not bad at all. Going to look at a fullback now, and this is one of the first cards on this list that I'm looking at that I think will have a little bit of a price to them at the start of the game, and that is Munos at Crystal Palace. Really like him IRL, and I think he's got a really phenomenal starter card here. Great pace, 84 pace is a really, really nice starting sort of pace on players, because I think anyone that you're looking at like 90 plus, sort of like the Alphonso Davies of the world and stuff, are going to be crazy expensive, which is why I think Munos will have some value to him in the fact that he's not in that like ridiculous top tier bracket, but he's in that bracket of like good stats, really nice starter card. Great physicality with 88 jumping, stamina and aggression. The strength does bring the physicality stat overall down a little bit, but having really good jumping on a fullback has proven to be really important in FC24 near the end of like stages of the game, with heading and crossing and stuff being so easy and so helpful to find goals. So having good jumping on a fullback is nothing to turn your nose up at. Really, really like the look of his defending and dribbling stats as well. The lowest stat in those 2 stat blocks is 71 defensive awareness, and then after that you're looking at 75s and 76s. Really good stats for a starting fullback. Really do like that. The passing as well is really nice. 72 crossings, not the end of the world for again a starter card, with short passing and long passing as well, both in the 70s as well. So yeah, really good looking card for me. I think Munos is going to be a great card that I'd be very happy to be using at the start of the game for sure. Going back into the midfield and looking at a player that is always so good at the start of the game for me, and that is Zamba Anguissa. Had a big drop in rating down to an 80 from an 83 in 24, but his stats are still really good for a starting DM. For me, this is the ideal DM. This isn't necessarily a box-to-box. This is somebody you would put along those other players we were talking about as a box-to-box. Being in a good league as well means that links to him wouldn't be the end of the world, even though nationality-wise it's a little bit of a pain to get to, but league and even team-wise it's not that bad. 3-star, 3-star again for a starting midfield, especially a defensive one, is absolutely fine with me. But again, across the board, minus shooting, 70 pluses on everything with 88 physicality. Mental, 92 stamina, 85 aggression, 84 jumping, 87 strength. Really good split on all of those stats. Their stamina being through the roof is also phenomenal for a starting game. Defending stats are great. The heading accuracy a touch on the low side. I don't think he's a crazy short player. In my head, he's like maybe 6'1" or so. Take that with a pinch of salt. Maybe give that a Google, because I probably should have done that before I claimed that he was maybe 6'1", but really good looking card. I really like his stats across the board. Defensive awareness, standing tackling, interception, slide tackling, all very happy with those stats. And the dribbling stats as well are phenomenal. Great composure, agility and balance for, again, a DM, phenomenal. Good ball control with decent dribbling and solid reactions. Pace split, perfect, 75 on both. And again, 75 pace is not bad for the start of the game. For me, I'm absolutely through the roof with this card. Is the kind of perfect whack a shadow on that card kind of card, realistically, right? Because his pace would go to like 82, 83, and his defending goes to like 85. A starter card that's 80 rated with 80 plus pace, mid 80s on defending, and high 80s on physicality. You're laughing. What a card. I haven't had any attackers in this yet, so I'm going to get an attacker in there. And we're looking at Gabbie. I might be saying her name wrong, and apologies if I am. What a starter card this is. I was talking before about the high pace stats really ticking a lot of boxes and making cards quite expensive. So I do think this card will have some initial value to them. When I say starter card, I mean it's a card that I think will do well at the start of the game. And if you get lucky to either pack and be able to use, or if you get a little bit of coinage to be able to pick up a card like Gabbie to go into your team and sort of be an out-and-out goal scorer, get you a bunch of goals and get you to that next, really take your team to that next level. Let's say you've got like a starter basic striker who's sort of doing the job. Gabbie comes in and does the job. 92 pace with a perfect pace split with 92 on both. 85 dribbling. Yes, please. Absolutely phenomenal stats. 92 agility and balance. Beautiful. 84 dribbling and ball control. Fantastic. And 81 composure. For a starter card, that is unreal. 4-star skills as well is lovely. 3-star weak foot, again, for a starter card is fine. I think everyone goes in being like, 4-star, 4-star minimum, 4-star, 4-star minimum. For a starter card, you don't need 4-star, 4-star minimum all the time. You can use these cards for a few weeks and just get the job done with these kind of cards. Shooting stat, 79. You could argue a touch low, but again, a dead eye on this kind of card. And it's going to be perfect for you because it just ups the shooting and passing, because the passing is the only thing I would say is a touch on the low side. 77 curve is not too bad for a starting stat for shooting stats and helping in that bracket as well. But 83 positioning and 82 finishing, lovely. Good shot power, good long shots. Penalties and volleys, it's not the end of the world. I don't find myself taking too many volleys. And again, as long as you have a penalty taker in your team, 72 penalties, it doesn't really matter. Another important stat to look at really is the physicality. 84 stamina, yes please. 89 strength, phenomenal. She's not a particularly big player, if memory serves correct, using her. She had like a 91 special card in 24. I don't think she's that big of a player, but 89 strength on a base card is absolutely unreal. So 87 physicality, 92 pace, and 85 dribbling. Unreal. We're going to finish off with a card that's had a massive downgrade, and a card that's always been phenomenal at the start of the game for me. That is Marcus Rashford, down to an 81, which I think a lot of people would argue is probably justified. But for an 81 rated card, this is a beauty. 89 pace with a decent split. 83 shooting with some phenomenal stats, including 93 shot power. Excuse me, unreal. Also has 5-star skill moves, which is also quite nice. 3-star weak foot again. Not the end of the world, especially if you're cutting inside and shooting on that right foot anyway, because he can play left mid. I would assume he's also going to be pretty competent at left wing and striker, as those are both positions he has played in the past. Balance and agility. The agility's good. The balance is a touch low. For me, again, balance for a starter like attacking card, I'm looking at low to mid 70s, sort of 72 being the bracket for agility and balance. So the balance being a touch low is a bit unfortunate, but it kind of does get counted out by a couple of other stats here. 84 dribbling is unreal. 82 ball control as well, really nice. 80 curve in the passing, along with some really good passing stats as well. Physicality being 64. The strength is a touch low. The stamina is a touch low. Again, depending on your playstyle and depending on his work rates, because I would assume his defensive work rate is going to be low and his attacking work rate is going to be medium. That is my guess. So it can kind of end up being not a huge problem. He's the kind of card that you would probably use for 70, 75 minutes and then maybe need to sub off for stamina, like just get some fresh legs on the pitch. Or you bring on at half time and he has a 45 minutes of just running at the defenders like mad for you. So for me personally, incredibly good starter card. 5-star skills is nice. I think he will have a value to him again. His 85 last year was pretty expensive, and I think it was an 83 the year before, had some price to it. With it being 81 rated, I think he will sort of sit at that like 10k bracket for a little while, and then will eventually drop a little bit. But again, sort of like I was saying with Gacy, and also Man United links. Quite nice there to get those two together. Getting that sort of starting budget and getting a couple of decent cards into your team, those are those two kind of players that I think you get in there knowing they're going to be a little bit pricey, but they'll do you a job. Those are the cards that we're going to look at today. As I said, I have got like 80 plus cards that I've looked at and gone, those cards look like decent starter cards. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see more stuff down below. Again, shout out to Foot Scoreboard for this fantastic app and finding all of these early leaks. It's really awesome. It helps us make content nice and early for FC25 as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment down below for cards you'd like to see or your thoughts on the cards that I've talked about today, and hit the sub button if you're new. Turn notifications on to be told anytime that we upload a video. FC25 being in full effect very soon means content is coming back and coming at you thick and fast. Thank you guys for watching. See you later. I've been Tom. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you soon. Look after yourselves, and of course, wash your hands, guys. Take care.